Hello and welcome to another scenario from your AKT podcast. This podcast is the first podcast from our second release, and as I'm recording this podcast, it's been incredible to see that we've had over 3,000 unique listens since our launch in late August. If you're new to this podcast, please let me introduce myself. I'm Dr. Shan Mahmood, a founder of WellMedic.co.uk. WellMedic is a platform which runs highly successful courses and content for GP trainees across the UK. We have helped thousands of GP trainees pass their exams, and unlike traditional GP education services, we provide effective, actionable content without the existing premium price tags that are often associated with postgraduate education. The aim of this podcast is to talk you through a more complex scenario where you will have to look at applying your knowledge, but also some of the finer details which are covered within the guidelines. So we're going to start off with endocrinology and clinical biochemistry. These are two areas which are routinely covered within the AKT, as they are genuinely complex topics with a significant scope for application, as there are often several subtleties within the presentation. I'm also going to use one of my hobbies, which is boxing, as part of the clinical scenario here. So the question for this scenario is that there is a 24-year-old female amateur boxer who is preparing for the World Championships. She currently fights in the 147-pound weight division, and in order to make the weight for the World Championship, she has had to lose 14 pounds. She has visited your clinic this morning complaining that she feels bloated and has not had a period for 8 months. She has had a negative pregnancy test. Clinical examination is normal. What is the likely cause for her complaint? So in order to answer this scenario, we need to focus on her presenting complaint, which is of secondary amenorrhea. Secondary amenorrhea is defined as the cessation of menstruation for 3 to 6 months in women with previously normal and regular menses, or for 6 to 12 months in women with previous oligomenorrhea. Now, there are a number of causes for secondary amenorrhea, from physiological causes, hypothalamic or pituitary causes, and gynecological causes. And if you'd like a detailed list, you can visit the summary on NICE-CKS, because it goes through all of the relevant causes and how you would tailor your diagnostic or management approach based on the presenting information. But for this scenario, the likely answer is actually hypothalamic dysfunction, which is likely there due to stress, excessive exercise, and or weight loss. So you have a successful athlete who's preparing for a major tournament. Exercise is clearly important in her life, and she's having to shred weight in order to compete. And this quite nicely leads on to where you can broaden your reading. And there's a triad which is described by the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, which is the female athletes triad. Now, this is a condition observed in physically active females such as distant runners, gymnasts and dancers, and it involves either weight loss or being underweight, menstrual dysfunction, and low bone density. I hope you found this scenario helpful. This podcast is hosted by WellMedic.co.uk. We help GP trainees pass the AKT.